Welcome back. We're going to make the hood for our bunny costume. The hood is made of a couple of pieces. We've got the outer fur, which is this bit, the big hood shaped bit. Pop that under there so we can hold it. And we've got the bunny hood brim. Got two of those. And you'll need to extend your hood pattern by, if you just imagined that this part of the hood, just line the pieces of pattern up like this and pin them together onto the pink, and what you will get is a hood lining that is the same width as the, let me show you, which is the same width as the hood plus the brim. Now, as I said in video 1 for doing the ears, doesn't matter if you forget to do that, just join the lining pieces in exactly the same as we're going to join the normal outer hood pieces, and you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. No one's going to know, no one's going to worry. Okay, so place both parts F, that's our big melon shaped hood pieces, together, and sew the curved edge, which is this long one. You'll notice that this one is straight. This little short one here at the bottom is the bottom, and we're going to go around here. So we just line both pieces up together, forwards and backwards at the top. Seam allowance is the edge of your foot. All the way down. Back tack at the end. Not sure my stitch finished there. So that's what we've got. Now what we want to do is we want to clip the curve edge in the seam allowance. So we're just going to remove some of that bulk, and guess it's Percy Pinkers coming back to do the job. So just going to whip round there. You do whichever method of curve clipping you prefer. These pinking shears are absolutely amazing, but they do make my hand ache after a while because they're so major. They're like proper industrial pieces of kit. If you think that might be a problem for you, then get yourself some soft grip ones. So that's the first part. I'll just move in a bit. There we go. That's probably a better angle for you. So the second part is we've got parts B. Now this is the brim of our hood. If you can imagine, what we've needed to do is separate the front of the hood from the main head of the hood. I'll just move that out, because what we actually want to do is create a seam in which we can put our ears, and we'll be doing that very shortly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get the longest ends, the longest of the short ends, so the top, and we're just going to seam that up across the line marks G for go. There we go. So we've done that. Push those out the back. Bird's nesty, bird's nesty. And just take the bulk out of that as well. Mainly because it's fleece, mainly because it's good practice. It's quite a good tailoring technique that. You'll find if you're going to make a coat or a waist jacket or something from wool particularly, then these different layers that you'll end up having. I mean, when you make a coat, gosh, you have your boiled wool on the outside, you have your interfacing, you normally have some buckram, and you'll have lining, and then if it's part of the collar, perhaps you'll have that twice. So what we'll do is we'll trim back these layers, but we'll actually stagger them, so each one will be a little tiny bit longer than the next one, so that when they're folded over, they're not bunched up. So taking thickness out of things to get a really professional finish is going to serve you well in the future if you go into something like that. So what we're going to do now is we've got both parts of the outer hood ready. we need to put the ears in. Da, da, da. Right, if you open your brim of your bunny out, what I'd like you to do is, this part is straight and this part makes a little hill. So if you pop your hill towards your machine, and all I'm going to do is actually to hold it in place so it doesn't wobble around, I'm going to put my foot down. I'm not going to sew it, it's just to hold it. So the next thing we have to do is we have to find our ears. Now this is important. When you do your ears, if you put the point of the mounting towards the machine, you are going to want to pop your bunny ears on beige and then beige all the way across. If you pop them that way up, when you sew your hood, your bunny ear is going to be round the wrong way. So we're going to pop the cotton side down. Got all these threads everywhere. On the marker. You can have a bit of artistic license when you do this. Doesn't have to be on the marker. If you want a perky bunny, move them to the centre a bit more. If you want a sad bunny, move them to the outside edge. I'm just going to eyeball this distance here and pop my second ear on. You know, I like the fact that Dolly's not perfect. I like the fact that things are sometimes a little bit wonky. I think that adds a huge amount of personality. It makes her unique. And like all of us, she's not perfect. Right, so the next thing to do is we've got the ears in position. Now, if I were you, this is one of those things where you do as I say, not as I do. What I would have you do is, within the seam allowance, just quickly blast across those ears. Just carry the stitching on over the fold. Couldn't get over the fold for some reason. Not liking me. And then I just, basically this is basting the ears in place. So when we come to sew the hood together, those ears, doesn't matter how you've pinned them, they ain't going nowhere. You know, they're basically tacked in place, but instead of doing it by hand, we've done it by machine. So this time you want to have the points of the ears facing you. Do you? Yes. Questioning myself. Now with your hood in the straight edge, and we're also still inside out, pop the straight edge of your hood matching this center seam here with the center seam that we had when we put the brim together. And then this goes over the ear like so, all the way down to the bottom. Now it's very important with this fleece that you don't pull it through the machine, you don't try and offer it a helping hand, it will stretch. So you're just going to let the machine do all of the work. What I like to do to make sure that that stays in the centre is, instead of starting from this end and watching the layers wander apart from each other, I would actually advise start from the centre, make sure those threads are that. Start from the centre and work outwards. You can always come back, start from the centre and work outwards in the opposite direction for the other ear. So here we go. We're just about to go over the ears, so it's a little ear sandwich here. Now, doing it that way is a lot more satisfactory than starting at one end, sewing all the way around and realising that you've pushed your layers out and actually, you know, you're about 3 feet the wrong length the other direction. So we're just coming back to the centre again. There's my centre mark, my centre seam. Just pop on top of where I left off, so we keep the stitching line the same. I've still got those pins in the ears, and the reason I've done that is mainly because we don't want them to get caught in the seam, so it just keeps them out of the way, really. Bit of realignment. Here we go. If you need to adjust your work, just make sure your needle's down. There we go. This is a nice therapeutic sew. Because it's a fleece, you won't need to finish any of the hems or the seams. It won't fray. It's a lovely soft one for a cuddle, actually. And once you've got this pattern mastered, you can, you know, get some more fabric. I've made them in pale yellow, pale blue and pale pink before, and actually given them as Easter presents as an alternative to chocolate, with a bit anti-packaging for, you know, all the plastic that it comes in it. So there we go, just having a quick check. So what you can do now is you can open this up and you can take out your pins. Look at this. Ta-da! Bunny has got the beginning of a hood and some wonderful ears. Now look how much my seams walked away from each other. So there you go. Even the pros can't get things to behave sometimes. Right, so we've cut the lining for the hood. And you've got two pieces. So we're just going to put them face to face. So right side to right side. Okay. Sandwich them up. And we are going to sew the curved line. I'm not changing thread, but you can if you want to. Super quick around that curve. Now that back tack there is one you don't want to miss. That is going to have a little bit of stress on it when we sew the hood. So again, because it's curved, get that bulk out and clip round so that it will lay nicely. Oh God, so much quicker than clipping. You must get really bored of watching me just ping things. Right, so there we go. So what we're going to do now is zoom out a little bit. Whoa, table on the move. Zoom out a little bit to give myself some more demo space. What we're going to do now is we need to line the hood. How pretty is that? It's so cute. Right. Pop your hood facing you and have everything in the right order. And then we're going to keep the lining inside out. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the hood into the lining, matching up those center seams. Okay, and I'm going to pin this, and again we're going to do from the center out, firstly down this side, joining the straight edge of the hood lining to the straight edge of the bunny fleece, all the way down to the neckline, which is here. So let's do that. Ooh, liking my new camera stand. Right, so start at the centre. There's a pin there. I was going to put it in my mouth. Perhaps I won't. Oh, I publicly shamed the cats in the last video for meowing while I was talking to you, and they've gone quiet. So they're obviously terribly embarrassed. Right, and do not miss this back tack here. That is another important one. And we're just going to do the same on the other side. Now for the other side, we're going to end up working from the poplin side down. Coming up next, we've got an amazing technique, which you'll love. It's a real pro technique. Sorry, I've left you on a bit of a cliffhanger there. It's understitching. What is understitching? We're about to find out. So, let me explain. This part is not actually in the pattern because it's advanced. So, to explain, when we turn the hood inside out, this, you can see it's already doing it, this poplin will want to turn to the outside because that's where the bulk of the fabric is, and it's also what seams want to do, and seams gonna do what seams gonna do. So what we're going to do is we're going to understitch it. So I'm just going to flip it over. What is understitching? Can you see the way that instead of laying like that, the seam wants to lay that way, and it's that makes it roll to the front? Well, we don't want it to do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to sew the seam allowance to the inside of the hood, well, to the hood actually, to all of the hood, and we're going to do it like this. So everything's inside out at the moment. The seam will naturally flop to the front, and by joining it together very closely to the stitching line. Oh, lost my foot, hang on. Not my actual foot, my sewing machine foot. When you go, I want you to just make sure what's going on underneath, okay? Because you may need to pull the bulk through. That's better. And you will need to check that you've got slight pressure on that seam. Just go a few centimetres at a time, check what you're doing, open it up, get your tension on your fabric, race off again. We're almost halfway. Look, how easy is this? I didn't think that was going to behave. I've got a bit of bulk there, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to push it under the foot with my pin and go back to what I was doing. And give it a little shove. There we go. Now, you will be absolutely so impressed when you see what that does. Look how crisp that is now. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold it to the inside, and it's all going to stay where it's supposed to stay. So that's the next thing to do. Pop your lining to the inside. Give it a quick press. Again, first side up, pressing cloth. Press, don't iron. Look how cute. Okay, so once I've ironed that, that'll be marvellous. Let's come out again. Look, we've got a hood. How cool. So give it a little press, and we will come back to the next stage, which is inserting the zip. Ta-da!